Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel. I'm a general physician. I'm not an endocrinologist. Still, I'll try to make this topic as simple as possible. Today, we are going to discuss regarding one of the disorders, which is because of over-secretion of growth hormone. We call acromegaly and gigantism. So, this particular disorders you will see very frequently in your everyday practice, as well as you will see this group of people very frequently playing a role in different movies as a villain or as a hero. So that is acromegaly and gigantism. These are all the different people showing you either acromegalic features or gigantism features. We'll be discussing under the heading definition, etiology, pathophysiology, clinical features, investigations, differential diagnosis, and treatment part. What is acromegaly? Acromegaly is a chronic metabolic disorders in which there is too much of growth hormone and body tissue gradually enlarges. This is called acromegaly. To add in this, acromegaly will occur if person gets over secretion of growth hormone after the fusion of epiphysis. Then that will lead into acromegaly. But if there is a growth hormone over secretions before fusion of epiphysis, then it will end up with what we call as gigantism. So acromegaly is a hormonal disorder that results when the pituitary gland produces excess of growth hormone, and that excess of growth hormone will act on a liver to produce IGF-1, we call it the insulin-like growth factor 1, and that after puberty means after fusion of epiphysis, and that is called acromegaly, and that has come word from Greek enlargement. Acromegaly means extremities and enlargement together. That is, megaly is enlargement, acro means extremities. So gigantism or acromegaly, gigantism is due to hormone level elevation, that is growth hormone level elevation before epiphyseal fusion, that is before puberty, and this is after puberty. You can see the compare the person. This is a normal person and see the person extremities. This is acromegaly. Here the height is more, gigantism. Again you can compare the height with normal person, gigantism. Again you can compare, this is gigantism. Yes, a famous person, Hassan Ali, his height was 8 feet 2 inches. Again you can compare with the two, these are the two brothers. This is gigantism. Again gigantism, compare with other persons. Gigantism and dwarfism together. Again gigantism. Now if we come across the etiology part of it, the most common cause of acromegaly or gigantism is because of excess of growth hormone secretions. Almost in 98% of the time it is a pituitary adenoma, and very few group of people will have adenocarcinoma which is secreting excess of growth hormone. Good number of time there is an ectopic secretion of a growth hormone from other malignancy like what we call as carcinoma of bronchus, particularly small cell carcinoma, malignancy of GI tract, malignancy of pancreas, islet cell tumors, small cell carcinoma of lung, or we call it a bronchogenic carcinoma, adrenal adenoma that can also secrete sometime growth hormone, and particularly it will be excessive growth hormone releasing factor. While ectopic growth hormone is very frequently by means of a treatment for dwarfism, or for growth of the person. There is another tumor called gangliocytoma that can also secrete growth hormone releasing factor, which will indirectly increase the level of growth hormone. Or there is an increased receptor hypersensitivity. Growth hormone receptor becomes hypersensitive, and then you can have an excessive growth of a tissue, and that will result into acromegaly or gigantism. Etiology in both nearly remains same, only the time is different. In acromegaly after puberty, in gigantism before epiphyseal fusion, or we call before puberty. So the most common cause is because of somatotropes adenoma, or we call pituitary adenomas, which can be microadenoma or macroadenomas. Microadenomas are usually less than 1 centimeter in size, and macroadenoma is bigger than 1 centimeter size. There are some non-pituitary tumors which we have already mentioned before in this slide. These are all the tumors which can be from pancreas, lung, and other parts of brain, like say hypothalamus, which can secrete an hormone we call as a adrenocorticotropic releasing hormone, or sorry, growth hormone releasing factor, and that can produce increased level of growth hormone from alpha cell tumors or alpha cells of pituitary adenomas. So these are all the causes of acromegaly. You can see the most common cause is because of pituitary tumors, or we call pituitary adenomas. It is accounting for nearly 98% of the time. Or you can have growth hormone secreting adenomas, granular adenomas, granulated adenomas, prolactin secreting, which secretes growth hormone as well as prolactin, which are accounting for 25%. Sometimes you can have a little secretion from what we call as a memosomatotropes cell adenoma, which is secreting prolactin. Or you can have an alpha cell or acidophilic stem cell adenoma, which are rare. Pluripotential hormonal adenomas, those are also rare groups. So this becomes a rare group. Or you can have a MEN type 1, which can be growth hormone secreting tumors, carcinoma, or maybe even from metastasis. Or you can have an genetic disorders like McCune-Albright syndrome, or you can have an abnormal pituitary adenomas, familial acromegaly, or Carney syndrome. These are all the different conditions. Out of this, the pituitary adenoma scores overall. Excess of growth hormone releasing factor can be from hypothalamus or from peripheral tissue like bronchogenic carcinoma, pancreatic cell tumors, particularly islet cell tumors, small cell lung malignancy, or adrenal adenoma, thyroid gland, carcinoma medullary cell, carcinoma of thyroid gland. Very, very rare to get from pheochromocytoma. Also, you can have an abnormal secretion of growth hormone releasing factor. Pathophysiology is very simple. Either there is an oversecretion of growth hormone directly from anterior pituitary, like pituitary adenoma, or we call as alpha cell adenomas, or it is secreted from other cells, which can be from lung, pancreas, GI tract, thyroid gland, etc. And they secrete growth hormone releasing factor, or from even hypothalamus, which will stimulate anterior pituitary, that is alpha cells of anterior pituitary, and increase the level of growth hormones. Sometimes you can have a alpha cell secreting both growth hormone as well as prolactin. So both can be together. This particular growth hormone will act on muscles and will increase the muscle mass. Always it will act on a bone. In a bone, depending upon the timings, that is, if it is before puberty, it will give rise to gigantism. If it is after puberty, it will give rise to acromegaly, means increase in the thickness of the bone in acromegaly, while increase in the length as well as little thickness of the bone in a person with gigantism. Along with this, in both the groups, there is an increase in the size of the organs. and that will be the effect what you will come across in a case of a pituitary glands adenomas. And this is primary tumor of a pituitary gland giving rise to growth hormone excess, and that will give rise to what we call as a primary growth hormone excess. But if there is an extra pituitary glands tumor, extra pituitary gland tumors, so that gives rise to growth hormone excess because of either increase in the level of the growth hormone releasing factor, which will stimulate the anterior pituitary and increase the level of the growth hormone, which will indirectly act on the liver, increases IGF, and that will have an increase in the growth of the body, growth and metabolic functions. While you can have a GHHRH increase, particularly in a hypothalamic tumors or tumors of bronchogenic carcinoma, maybe teratomas, maybe GI tract tumors, pancreatic islet cell tumors, etc. Either they may be secreting growth hormone releasing factor, or there may be external stimulus by a growth hormone, which is very commonly utilized for increase in the height and increase in the body mass. A person wants to become a muscular, there is an use of growth hormone for increasing the body muscle mass, and that can indirectly lead to extra pituitary growth hormone excess, one of the cause. So that will be acting on the muscle as well as bone. We'll be going through that in detail. So pituitary gland secretes growth hormone. That growth hormone will act on a somatotropic cells, which are alpha cells of anterior pituitary, which will release growth hormone. That will directly act on the bone, increases the length of the bone, as well as it will act on a liver where it will secrete IGF, and that IGF will act, IGF-1 and IGF-2, that will be a growth factor which will be acting on a different cells and will help in repair and regeneration of the different tissues, and it will also increase the tissue mass. We have already told you growth hormone will increase the muscle mass. In liver, it will give rise to increased protein synthesis, gluconeogenesis, so there will be increased glucose level in blood, as well as far as adipose tissue is concerned, it decreases the uptake in adipose tissue, glucose uptake in adipose tissue, it gives rise to lipolysis, so it decreases the adiposity, but it increases the glucose level in blood. So person will develop hyperglycemia, and secondary to hyperglycemia, person can have polyuria and person will have an increased urine output. And secondary to that polyuria, because of increased sugar level in urine, also person will have a high chance of getting recurrent urinary tract infections. As far as bone is concerned, it will increase in collagen synthesis, protein synthesis, cell proliferation of chondrocytes, so it will increase in the linear growth. And as far as all the tissue is concerned, it increases protein synthesis, increase in the cell number as well as size. So increases the size as well as the mass of all organs. So we call organomegaly. So it will have an insulin-like effect, anti-lipolytic effect, protein synthesis, and epiphyseal growths. And this all combined together will be seen in an acromegaly as well as gigantism. So this is the effect on a growth of a different tissue, mainly bone and muscle. This will be growth hormone functions which will be taking place in a normal person. As far as clinical feature is concerned, in children before epiphyseal fusion, it will lead to gigantism, and if it is after puberty, that is after epiphyseal fusion, it will lead to acromegaly. So in acromegaly, this is acromegalic features, this is gigantism. Height is more. Here, height is not more, but the growth of the different tissue becomes more, and the bone is increasing in the width, not in the length. So that will end up with what we call as a acromegaly. We'll be dealing in detail. So clinical features in the children. If it is before puberty, it will increase in the height, taller than other children. But if it is after puberty, it will result into increase in the thickness of the muscles, increase in the muscle mass, increase in the organ size, etc. So in a gigantism, there is a large hand and feet. The length of the hands, upper limb and lower limb is more. There are thick toes and fingers, bulging of the jaw, and that results into lower jaw is little more bulkier and in a length in case of acromegaly. While there is also in a gigantism increase in the forehead size, improper facial features, children will have a increased size of the tongue, lips, so there will be macroglossia. Gigantism will depend upon the size of the pituitary gland tumors, secondary symptoms, and this is because of the raised intracranial pressure. Secondary to the increase in the size of the tumor, person will have a symptom signs of raised intracranial pressure in the form of severe headache, vomiting, papilledema, which will give rise to blurred vision. And because of the local compression by a pituitary gland tumor, first most common finding is because of the compression of optic chiasma, which results into very common feature we call bitemporal homonymous hemianopia. If there is a partial compression on one side, then it can give rise to quadrantic homonymous hemianopia. Quadrantic field is loss, and most commonly it is a superior quadrantic field loss. If it extends up into floor of the third ventricle and blocks the openings, foramen of Monro, then it can end up with what we call as a occult hydrocephalus. It can further extend up into what we call as a hypothalamic region, and it can destroy hypothalamus, resulting into decreased secretions of all releasing factors, which will have decreased action on pituitary gland and will start producing hypopituitarism, and it can end up into pan-hypopituitarism. As well as alpha cell tumors are the most common cell tumors which secretes the growth hormone, which will compress the beta cell as well as the other cells of anterior pituitary gland, resulting into hypopituitarism, later on into pan-hypopituitarism, which we call as Simon syndromes. It can also compress neurohypophysis, that is posterior pituitary, which can destroy the axon fibers of the neurons, neuroendocrine secretory tumors, neuroendocrine secretory cells, so not tumors, of hypothalamus, which is secreting ADH and oxytocin. So you can have a decreased production of ADH. So person can end up with even diabetes insipidus. So these all things can be there as a part and partial because of pituitary tumor, along with gigantism. So gigantism person will have a very great height. It will be more than the normal height. You can see all this. These are gigantisms. These are gigantism. These are all the name of the people who are having a tremendous height. This is from Ukraine, which was having 258 centimeter height. Then these are all the different peoples from different areas. You can see there is none of them belongs to India. So they can have a height from 7 feet to 8 feet or even more than 8 feet. And these are all the different manifestations which we already mentioned, which you come across in a case of gigantism. Cardiovascular features can be ventricular hypertrophy. Secondary to that, person can develop congestive heart failure, more commonly systolic than diastolic. Person can have a coronary artery disease, cardiac arrhythmias, hypertension, cardiomyopathy can occur. In a respiratory system, macroglossia, jaw can have a malocclusion, upper airway obstruction, person can develop obstructive sleep apneas, sleep disturbances, ventilatory dysfunctions. Among metabolic disorders, hyperglycemia, glycosuria, impaired glucose tolerance, IGT, that is pre-diabetic, can also become a diabetic, we call as a endocrine induced diabetes mellitus. He can also develop insulin resistance. Secondary to abnormal secretions of different growth hormones, along with growth hormones, other endocrine hormones can result into goiter, hypercalciuria, galacturia. Because of abnormal production of a prolactin, you can have a libido, impotence, menstrual abnormalities. As far as bone is concerned, there is an increased length of the bone, increased articular cartilage thickness. Secondary to that bone changes, person can develop arthralgia, arthritis. Increased thickness in the size of the different bones can give rise to carpal tunnel syndromes, osteopenia, etc. This is one of the features which can be seen in a person with acromegaly, particularly when the person is not increasing the height, but there is increase in the thickness of the bones. So you can have an abnormal size of the different fingers and toes. So this can be one of the features in a case of an acromegaly. It is a rare condition, not a common condition, but still you can see some of the person. Hand swelling can be sausage-like finger, increase in the shoe size. Person can have a diaphoresis. There are typical facial features. There is a typical appearance of the nose, increased prominence of the jaw and the forehead, thickened skin. The tongue is increase in the size, we call macroglossia. Thickening and the swelling of the neck tissue, arthritis, sleep apnea, headache, compression symptoms on the optic chiasmas, pain in the joint and wrist, etc. Person can also present with the carpal tunnel syndromes, increased thirst, increased urination because of polyuria, hyperglycemia, chest pain, shortness of breath, palpitation, heart failure, etc. can be there. And you can come to the diagnosis by history examinations, physical examination, and you can find out the pituitary tumors by CT scan, MRI scan. And you can go for a x-rays of bones, chest, etc. to find out the bony age and bone size. You can see the size of the palm. The size of the palm is increased, enlarged in the thickness, broadening of the bones. There is a supraorbital ridge, broadening of the nose, thickening of the lips, thickening and wrinkling of the foreheads. Lower jaw is, or we call mandible, is little longer than maxillary bone, giving rise to prognathism, and that is even described as a acromegalic face, or we call as a gorilla face. Very, very typical appearance. So in general features, these are visceromegaly. We have given a facial changes, increase in the size of the finger and toes. We have already given that. Skin changes can take place. You can go through your at leisure times. You can have associated abnormal features of thyroid disorders associated with that, parathyroid, adrenal glands. By and large, during tumors, pituitary tumors, it can show hypersecretions, and if it is pure alpha cell tumor, secondary to compression of the beta cells, thyroid function can be hypothyroidism, you can have a hypoadrenalism, and even hypogonadism. That can be associated features. Because of action of a growth hormone, you can have hyperglycemia, sorry, glycosuria, hypertension, and we have told you optic chiasma compression, bitemporal homonymous hemianopia. This is normal face. You can see this is called acromegalic face. This is typically described as a acromegalic features. These are all the features what you can come across. Galacturia because of prolactin hormone, cardiomegaly, hypertension, libido, peripheral neuropathy. Particularly, very frequently they will come to you with a carpal tunnel syndromes, arthrosis, joint pains, visual field defects, particularly bitemporal homonymous hemianopias, prominent supraorbital ridge, large nose, prognathism, hyperglycemia, glycosuria, polyuria, increased thirst, etc. All those features. These are all those features you can call as ABCD, arthralgia, arthritis, hypertension, carpal tunnel syndrome, diabetes, enlarged organs, macroglossia, field defects, etc. All those features are described here. At your leisure time, you can go through that. These are all those particular what we have given. Along with that, also you can have a hirsutism and acne. This will be very commonly seen in a female. very commonly seen in a female. Along with that, you can have a thyroid goiter also. In some person, you can have a colonic polyp, colonic carcinoma also can be seen. Mass effect I already described, headache, visual field disturbances in the form of a what we call as a blurred vision. Person can even get seizures. He can have even altered level of consciousness, cranial nerve palsy because of compression of the third, fourth, five, sixth cranial nerve in a cavernous sinus. Hypothalamic involvement. If there is a destruction of the sella turcica floor, you can have a cerebrospinal fluid rhinorrhea, and you can have even a decreased production of pituitary hormone from beta cells or from neurohypophysis, and it can lead into single hormone deficiency or multiple hormone we call panhypopituitarism or we call Simon syndromes. And because of excessive production of a prolactin associated, you can have a galactorrhea. So these are all the features of acromegaly. We have already shown you before: cardiovascular features, respiratory features, metabolic, neurogenic features, neoplastics, musculoskeletal features, etc. Those you can take as a complication. These are indirectly where the complication what can. These are the features which can persist in case of an acromegaly. Also, some of these features are all present in case of even gigantism. These are the, this is a very famous person. Yes, our Indian boxer. We call Khalid. This is a villain who used to act in many pictures. This is also one of the person was acting in a picture. And this is one of the person who was from Pakistan, Afghanistan, sorry, not Pakistan, Afghanistan. So these are all the different features what you can come. They look like gorilla, so it is also called as a gorilla face. These are all the features of the face. This is one condition which can occur in a person who has developed gigantism and after that puberty period, still what we call as growth hormone secretion continues. So initially person develops gigantism and still growth hormone secretion continue, then you will start now having additional features of acromegaly. So basically the person is gigantism with acromegalic features. So it is called acromegalic gigantism. So these are the group of people who continues to have a growth hormone over secretions or hypersecretion even after fusion of epiphysis. So the growth hormone over secretion has started before puberty. So because of that they develop a gigantism. But after puberty also it continues. So they will develop acromegalic features. This is the features of acromegaly. This is gigantism, typical gigantism. Again you can see this is gigantism with acromegalic features. This is again acromegalic features with gigantisms. This is gigantism. This is acromegalic features. These are all dwarfism, opposite of acromegaly. For diagnosis of acromegaly, you will have to compare with another person and you will have to compare with the standard people. Along with that, you will get an elevated level of growth hormone and you will have an elevated level of IGF-1. This is because of increased production from liver because of overproduction of a growth hormone. So for diagnosis, serial photos you can have, observe the physical changes. You can have an X-ray picture for bony thickening and to find out the length of the bone. In the blood test, hormone levels, particularly growth hormone and IGF-1. You can see this was the feature at the age of 40. This is the feature at the age of 55. So serial pictures, not X-ray pictures, but photographs can also help you out. Basically, you will have a high growth hormone level, IGF level, that is insulin-like growth hormone factor 1 level will also increase. If you take the X-ray pictures of extremities, it will show you overgrowth of bones. In a person after puberty, it will show the increase in the thickness of the bone, while in a case of a gigantism, it will show the increase in the length of the bone. And if you want to investigate for pituitary tumor, MRI is best, which will show you the size of pituitary fossa, symptom signs of raised intracranial pressure. In a person with acromegaly, it will show the thickening of the occipital bones. Because of raised intracranial pressure, you can have a separation of sutures, destruction of a clinoid process, increase in the size of the pituitary fossa, and also silver bitten appearance because of a raised intracranial pressure. Also, it can show you that pituitary tumor is extending into surrounding structure like cavernous sinus, or extending down, producing destruction of the floor of the what we call as a sella turcica or pituitary fossa, resulting into CSF rhinorrhea. If it is extending up, it will also show you that it is producing pressure effect on optic chiasma, also extending into the floor of the third ventricle, and maybe you can get a MRI picture showing you extension into hypothalamus. Echocardiography will show you LVH or biventricular hypertrophy. There can be mitral valve, MR, AR, etc. You can have an increase in the size of the heart on echocardiography, can be easily seen. In an ECG, you will see biventricular hypertrophy. In a blood, you will get a IgG positive. Glucose tolerance test will be positive. You will have impaired glucose tolerance. You can also have a features of diabetes mellitus in the form of a fasting glucose is high, postprandial is high, and even HbA1c is elevated. Now, growth hormone level, if it is high and IGF level is high, you can go for a growth hormone suppression test, which is a confirmatory test. So, if there is a failure of a growth hormone suppression after giving glucose load, you will see that this is because of pituitary tumors, which is secreting growth hormones. So, within 1 to 2 hours of a oral glucose test, the growth hormone level should be suppressed. If that is not done, it indirectly supports that there are increased production of a growth hormone from pituitary tumors. You can also do the TRH administration test. In 60% of the patient, growth hormone secretory tumors may exhibit paradoxical growth hormone response. So, by this, you can have an increase in the growth hormone level. Prolactin level is also sometimes elevated along with growth hormone level. So, this is also an additional clue which can tell you that there is a growth hormone secreting tumors. You may have to do a thyroid function test, go for TSH level, gonadotropic levels, FSH, LH, or even ACTH level. This level will increase in a person associated with pituitary tumors which are hypersecreting, we call hyperpituitarism. But in case of a alpha cell tumors, because of compression of beta cells of pituitary gland, you can have a hyposecretion of TSH, hypoproduction of a growth hormone, that is gonadotropic hormone, that is FSH-LH, and even ACTH level will be also decreased. We have already told you that as far as blood reports is concerned, you will have impaired glucose tolerance, and in 20% of the people you can have abnormal glucose level showing you high fasting, high postprandial with HbA1c elevation. In good number of people you can have an abnormal calcium metabolism, and that will produce hypercalciuria, renal stone formation, and hyperphosphatemia. And this is because of growth hormone has got increased action on phosphate renal tubular absorption. So, random growth hormone and IGF level is one of the most important tests, and for finding out the inhibition is there or not, you can do what we call as a inhibition test, or we call suppression test, growth hormone suppression test. And we have told you that you look for growth hormone function, because growth hormone excess will produce impaired glucose tolerance, and you can go for a glucose load which will suppress growth hormone level. If glucose load is given and IGF level is elevated, then diagnosis of acromegaly can be confirmed. So if you give a glucose load and if a growth hormone level is suppressed and IGF level is elevated, then there is a diagnosis of acromegaly. Visual field examination should be done, MRI scan. You can go for other hormone pituitary function. You can go for a pituitary prolactin level. This is what is called as visual field defects examination. This is MRI showing you the pituitary gland is extending down as well as it is extending into the third ventricle. You can go for a radiological study for extremities for finding out the bony age as well as finding out the thickness and the length of the bone to find out whether it is a gigantism or acromegaly. You can have a chest x-ray to find out the size of the heart, cardiomegaly. So radiological and imagination studies can be done for soft tissue, bone x-rays and conventional x-rays. So this is showing you a widening of pituitary fossa. You can go for a extremities examination which will show you that thickening of the bone. This is calcaneum, thickening of the bone in acromegaly. Sinus size is also increased. You can see the thickness of the bone is increased. It is also called as toughing of the terminal phalanges, toughing. And because of overgrowth of the vertebra in acromegaly, there is a what we call as a kyphosis. In a joint, you can have a mushroom capping of the head of the femur because of increase in the size, and you can have even arthritic distortion of the knee. You can have that particular also. Here you can see a normal skull. Here you can see a widening of a pituitary fossa and thickening of the occipital bone, which is the typical features with little separation of the sutures. You can see these sutures are getting separated and silver bitten appearance because of a raised intracranial pressure. Prognathism. You can see the thickening of the bone and widening of pituitary fossa on plain X-ray. Thickening of calvarium, or we call occipital bone. Now once you confirm the diagnosis of acromegaly, usually it is for management is for pituitary tumors, and it is transsphenoidal surgical removal of pituitary gland. So we call transsphenoidal hypophysectomy. So removal of the pituitary gland, or you can go for a radiotherapy, either external radiation, or you can go for a Bragg peak proton beam, or you can go for a gamma knife. As far as medical treatment is concerned, somatostatin analogs can decrease the size of pituitary tumor, and there is another drug that is dopamine agonist that is also very effective in a pituitary tumors. So this will be only for pituitary tumors. So as far as the pharmacological therapy is concerned, somatostatin, that is octreotide, and we call dopamine agonist, that is bromocriptine. They are very, very effective and they are very commonly utilized. And benefit is they normalize the growth hormone level and IGF-1 level in majority of the patient. So level can be reduced to 53% at 68% of the people. Growth hormone will be reduced in 53% and IGF level will be reduced in 68% of the people. And it will give a good relief in headache, arthralgia, sweating, etc. And pituitary gland tumor size can also reduce by 25% to 50% of the time it will get reduced. But this particular has to be given subcutaneous every 8 hours. Cost is the factor. Complication is mainly gallstone formation and diarrhea. So this is a major drawback. While surgery, you can go through a transsphenoidal bone and remove the pituitary gland, and it is very commonly being done, and it is done by endoscope. So it is called endoscopic transsphenoidal removal of pituitary gland. This is for radiotherapy. This is what we is a call as a flow charts or algorithms when you get the pituitary tumors, when you go for a surgery, when you go for the medical therapy, and when you go for the radiotherapy. So mainly the main aim of therapy is to reduce the level of growth hormone and IGF level, to stabilize and decrease the tumor size, and preserve the function of normal pituitary gland. If you do a surgical removal, the normal pituitary gland cells will stop secreting because you have removed that particular tumor. So that's the reason why the medical therapy and sometimes the use of radiotherapy is utilized. But radiotherapy and surgical therapy has always got a drawback of decreasing the pituitary function and ending up with a pan-hypopituitarism. While pharmacotherapy usually do not end up with hypopituitarism. You can stop the medicine when you start getting a symptoms of hypopituitarism, or if the level of ACTH, TSH or FSH level, FSH LH level starts falling in the blood. You can decrease the dose of what we call as dopamine agonist. We have already shown you before this particular dopamine agonist, or we call somatostatin analogs, that is octreotide and bromocriptine. Now the drug which is very commonly available is pergolide. So that is very commonly being utilized. These are all the complications of what we call as an acromegaly. We have already shown you. Cardiovascular complication like ischemic heart disease, cardiomyopathy, congestive heart failure, cardiac arrhythmias, hypertension. In respiratory system, obstructive sleep apnea, macroglossia, kyphosis, metabolic disorder we call as a endocrine induced diabetes mellitus, hyperlipidemia. As far as the neurological concern is peripheral nerve compressions like carpal tunnel syndromes, very rarely strokes. It can end up with a colorectal cancer, breast cancer, prostatic cancers, and in musculoskeletal system, degenerative arthropathy, calcification of discopathy, pyrophosphate arthropathy, etc. These are all the complications which you can come across. These are all those complications: respiratory complication, metabolic complication, malignancy, cardiovascular, neuromuscular complications. These are all in gigantism, delayed puberty, increase in the height, unusual features, visual disturbances. Yes, you can have visual disturbances as a permanent features. Then person can go into hypopituitarism like hypothyroidism, etc. I end my lecture here. I hope this will be very helpful to you in your everyday practice as well as in your exams.